Hey, just your thoughts on Ohio State, first off.
Obviously they've done an unbelievable job of retooling their team. I think to have that good of a team when, Sewing was out last year, Bruce Thornton was coming in, as a high school player, Sensabaugh's coming in.
Yeah.
As a high school player, he was just a fabulous player. But to take, returners, high school guys, and the transfers and the fifth-year guys in that combination, and have which on the outside looking in, good chemistry, good team, talented team, tough, hard-nosed. They've played just a really tough schedule. Like they've been challenged, they've been through it. The matchups that they have, Sewing and Sensabaugh really causes problems for a lot of different people, like at the 3 and the 4. Kind of similar to where Michigan was a couple years ago with Wagner and the other guy was playing at the Pistons. I'm losing my mind. But those guys, they have good size.
Isaiah Livers.
There you go. They have good size. They can handle the basketball. They can move. Sensabaugh's to me, kind of like Glenn Robinson was as a young player, and the way people bounce off of him. He can just get to his spot. He can shoot his pull-ups. He can dribble in place and make threes. Sewing's played in a lot of college basketball games. In his length, his athleticism, his patience, he does a good job of really getting in off the bounce and jump stopping and maneuvering and using his pivots and just making plays. 2-3 years ago, he was just kind of a lefty, hard driving, going to go left. You knew it every single time, and now he's going right more. But he's got more to his game. That intermediate game that he's got is really, really tough to defend. You can see he's put in some time on that. Bruce Thornton's a guy that we recruited that's tough as nails, just a leader, tough, just does a lot of little things that affect, winning and losing. And then grabbing McNeil. McNeil's a great piece of the puzzle. His ability to shoot and play make and, just stretch the defense. You have to stay with him at all times. And then Zed Key. Zed Key has really, really gotten better and just a blue-collar, tough, more skilled than you think he is. Can score around the basket. Can make an open three if you leave him open right there. But no, they have a really good team. They got Tanner Holden comes off the bench, a guy that scored a lot of points at Wright State. So I'm probably missing a few guys, but just very impressed with their team.
Just what did your team need to take from, obviously at some point they were going to experience a loss. What do they need to take from that to, get better from it?
Yeah, well, I think we've done a good job this year in terms of rebounding and getting, loose balls and being around it. And it wasn't like we were bad. Obviously, it was pretty even in the game, but you didn't have an advantage across the board when you put turnovers and rebounds together. It was, like I said, it was even. You help your cause and you're in a better position than that, then you're probably going to win the game. So just being tougher, being better. But the unforced errors, some of the tough shots we took and the turnovers, that's really what you get picked on when you miss shots, when you miss free throws and you miss threes. If you miss a good shot, it shouldn't be a negative. The result's a negative, but it shouldn't be a negative because you should stay process-based. And so I really try to let our guys know that, really pick at them hard about the tough shots that they're taking, especially when it's not in low clock situations. You're going to get in some low clock situations where you got to take some tough shots, but there's 10, 12, 14 seconds on a shot clock and you're taking a really tough shot. It's just, you got to have better discipline than that. We didn't have a lot of those, but we had enough to make a difference. And when you're not making shots like we have in here for the past 3 weeks, it's going to have an effect when you play someone as tough and as grimy as Rutgers is.
It seemed to be like a handful of turnovers came when your guys tried to get in the air, not playing off 2 feet, which is something you emphasize every single day.
Right, yeah. And you're not always going to be on 2 feet, but if there's, from a discretionary standpoint, if you got to make that decision, then you should. Then you should. So, yeah, a lot of learning, a lot of forcing at times when you don't need to. You really didn't need to. And we had to show a little bit more patience, a little bit more resolve. But yeah, playing off of 2 feet, something we work a lot on. We just got to do a better job, especially when we get into a sea of people.
How important is it that you don't let this carry over into Thursday? Don't let it carry over into Sunday, especially for the younger guys, where one loss can't become 3 losses in a week.
Right. Well, that it's not as much as a carryover. Like you don't want to. You don't want to forget some of the things you struggled at. When you don't forget it, you fix it and you get better because of it. But no matter if we'd won the game or lost the game, which we obviously did against Rutgers, Ohio State was going to be a tough game. You know what I mean? So like that doesn't really affect much. You try to fix the things that you struggled with. But the other thing that pops up is a new team causes different problems sometimes. So you have to be aware of that.
Obviously, you've had a lot of players that are returning this year that have experienced losses like this. But for Braden and Fletcher, just what have you seen from them and their ability to stay level-headed and I guess kind of take away from this loss?
I think what you see from them is how they play on Thursday. I think that's the what I mean. We've only had 1 day of practice, and that's the thing is that guys that are competitive and guys that are intelligent respond. Sometimes guys that don't have the wherewithal, the capacity to know what's going on around them, they don't respond because they don't take it all in. You got to take it all in. It's okay, whether you're a player or a coach, take it all in, and then allow that, losing, to be a great learning example.
Speaking of the sea of people you mentioned before, part of that was them gumming up your pick and rolls by using their 4-man to, I don't know if he was they were tagging Zach or they were just torpedoing him, but
they were just holding down there.
Yeah. What do you guys have to do as a counterpunch to that when people dedicate a whole body to take Zach out on his roll?
Well, they're just pulling people from the weak side. We make good decisions, but then we don't make good passes. So we make the right decision, and then all of a sudden we throw the ball by somebody's ankles or they're jumping up in the air. We got to make good passes. And so as long as you're making the good read, like now you can go back and work and watch that on film. Like, you're making the right read. But you got to deliver the ball so it puts it right in their shooting pocket. And but yeah, they did an all right job. But it was a little bit different. Some were dribble handoffs, some were ball screens, some were dribble handoffs into down screens. So it's different. They did different things there, but it was nothing that we haven't seen, all year. It just when the ball doesn't go in or you make careless decisions, as a coach, you don't want to take credit away from somebody else, but that's the team you're coaching. Like, I'm not coaching their team. I don't look at it like, hey man, great defense. I look at it as like, make a better decision. Like, it's right in front of you. And what's encouraging is when they struggle at something that they've been successful with, nothing was overwhelming other night. Like, I've played teams where it's just like, hey, you can't breathe. West Virginia sometimes doesn't let you breathe. And that wasn't the case other night. It just wasn't. We just didn't make enough, necessary plays.
Is it easier for the staff to get their messages across when you lose? When things don't go well, but you win. Sometimes it's like, we can still afford to make those mistakes. And now, this is what happens.
When you go on a winning streak, you're making mistakes while you're doing it. Does it really hit home? It's a good point. Does it really hit home with certain guys until you finally get that loss? We'll see. Normally it does. Normally those things start to resonate a little bit more clearly. So, all right. Thanks, guys.